Welcome to Guided, your weekly sanctuary where we blend the wisdom of the Enneagram with the art of intentional living. I'm your host Evie, and you're so welcome here. Guided is all about helping you, the modern woman, find your flow in a world that's often all hustle and no heart. Whether you're navigating a career pivot, diving into creative pursuits, or just figuring out how to take better care of yourself, Guided is here to support you. This podcast is like a weekly chat with a good friend, one who's passionate about making your life feel good. At Guided, we believe in living with intention, fostering emotional well-being, and finding joy in the everyday. We tackle the big stuff like overthinking, setting boundaries, and avoiding burnout, all while keeping it real and relatable. Think of this as your go-to spot for practical tips, soulful conversations, and a reminder to break free from the grind. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. Thank you for choosing to make Guided a part of your weekly ritual. If you're ready to step into a life of intention and empowerment, then hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Guided. I'm so thrilled that you're here. If this is your first Guided podcast episode, how exciting! What an absolute dream and a delight. If we've never met before, hi, my name is Evie. I am your self-appointed online big sister that is helping you step into the most aligned and empowered version of you. Let's do this. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. I wanted to tell you about my spring seasonal reset. I wanted to talk to you about something that might feel all too familiar as we begin to approach spring. This sense of stagnation. Are you feeling a little bit cabin fevery with the grey sky and the rain and the cold and always being inside? Is winter starting to feel heavy? Do you feel stuck in the same cycles? Has January been a bit of a bust? If this kind of tracks, if you're feeling like you're stuck in the same cycles, you're overwhelmed by clutter, whether that be physical or emotional, or simply out of sync with your goals, guys, you're not alone. That's why I'm talking about this right now at the beginning of today's episode. That is so normal. And that is also the reason why I created my spring seasonal reset. Each quarter, I hold an online meditation and journaling class. It's a glorious space where we take a little bit of an emotional, spiritual check-in, where we check in with our thoughts and our feelings, and where we shed what is no longer serving us. My spring seasonal reset is coming up. So if you want to reconnect to your intentions and step into spring, carrying clarity and that lightness that might be feeling a little bit buried right now in the depths of winter, I would love to invite you. Let's reset together. Let's make space for what is waiting to bloom, and come and join me on Wednesday, the 19th of March. That is the night before the spring equinox. I thought, let's line it up. Spend 90 minutes in a gorgeous circle with other incredible women. I have done an autumn one and a winter one online now. Both of them were incredibly peaceful, restorative, deep, meaningful. The reviews are gorgeous. They're on the website if you want to see them. And you can grab your early bird ticket now. I would just love to see you there. This is an event that is made for you. Yeah, is made with you in mind. If you are feeling frazzled over winter, ready to step into spring, and want some support to help you do that, to help you launch really well. I will see you there. Okay, let's jump into today's episode. So today we are diving into the topic of how to get 1% better every single day. January, New Year can often bring in these massive pressures. We've talked about that in last episode as well, and a couple of episodes before that. This massive pressure to kind of huge overhaul of your life and make these huge shifts and changes, and sometimes that can feel like a lot. Yeah? What if we took these ginormous goals and made them much more manageable, much more achievable? What if we focused on getting 1% better every single day? Because I really do think that real magic comes from those small, consistent actions. Yeah, we did talk about this in last week's episode. How can we stay in this place of devotion And this is maybe kind of like the other side of the coin to last week's episode. I perhaps should have done it as a two-parter. But before we dive in, I just wanted to remind you of a story that I have shared before. I shared it in my birthday week episode. Definitely go back and listen to that. That is 2 weeks ago now. That is a really fun episode. But where I shared the story of how I used to feel like I had to get everything perfect. Okay? Maybe you feel like this too. Maybe you find yourself sometimes in that space. And how I have learned over the last 2 years that small, steady shifts, searching for that 1% each day, is the key to unlocking the most impactful way of growth, the most impactful way of growing. Yeah? If you're feeling overwhelmed by goals, to-do lists, resolutions, this is your episode. This is your reminder that there is a gentler way to move forward. And I'm so thrilled that you're here listening to it. Let's talk about why the 1% matters though, okay? The 1% matters because it's 1% every single day. That compounds. Imagine that over the next week, over the next month, over the next 6 months, over the next year. Yeah? Imagine what 1% each day could look like. And again, it's not about perfection. It's about having a manageable approach to your personal growth and development. Yeah? That honors your capacity and your values. Let's talk about this from an Enneagram perspective, because each Enneagram type can approach this in their own unique way. So for example, for the type 1, the reformer, it really is about progress over perfection. So what is one way you can focus on your humanity today? How can you embrace your humanity by 1% today? Yeah, that is the antidote to perfectionism. Remembering that you're a human. And that is beautiful. Type 2, the helper. You prioritize one habit that would nourish you, and you prioritize one habit for yourself before helping others today. What would be one thing, could be really small, that would nourish you today? It could even be going to the toilet when you need it rather than doing a bunch of jobs for other people first. That is such a big one for type 2s. For type 3, the achiever, you could let go of the pressure for those immediate results. And you commit to a sustainable habit that builds over time. For type 4, the romantic, channel your creativity into those daily rituals that inspire you. What is one habit that you can commit to daily that helps keep you grounded? For type 5, the investigator, it's all about starting small to avoid overwhelm for you guys. What is one step that you can take to integrate your knowledge into action? For type 6, the loyalist, build trust. It's all about building trust in yourself to honor the commitments that you've made. So what is that one habit that strengthens that confidence? Type 7, the enthusiast, we need to channel your energy. So what small action would add depth to your day? Adding depth is going to help you channel that energy to stop you being so scattered. Type 8, we want to focus your energy into habits that align with your long-term goals. And you might think, Eve, type 8s are always doing that. I'm a type 8. I'm so future focused. Yeah, totally. And that means that your present daily habits, tasks, routines are sometimes not totally aligned with the future goal. So what's one practice that feels empowering and connected to that higher version of yourself, to you in a year's time, to future you? And type 9, the peacemakers. We need habits that create structure without overwhelming you. So can your 1% be focused around finding clarity or peace? And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the powerful small action. Yeah? If no one's ever told you about the habit loop, cue, routine, reward, I'm going to tell you about that now. Because we got that devotion that we talked about last week. We need the discipline, the structure to help us start doing that on a really integrated level, where it can just begin happening over and over again. And I think the habit loop is really helpful for that. So we want to focus on the cue, the routine, and the reward. Let's talk about what does that mean? So the cue is the trigger that prompts the habit, okay? The routine is the habit, action that you take, and the reward is the positive reinforcement that is going to motivate you to continue doing it, to repeat it, day in, day out, that 1% each day. So let me tell you about mine at the moment. So a goal of mine this month has been to drink more water. Yeah, I have been parched, you guys. I have not been focusing on my water intake. And so I've been really, really focused on that. So this has been my habit loop to help make that part of my daily routine to improve my water intake by 1% each day. So I have my water bottle by my bed and it's filled up. When I wake up in the morning, so the cue to drink more water each day is waking up. I have that water bottle by the bed. I wake up and that is my cue. I've woken up, my alarm's gone off. I've turned my phone alarm off and then right next to my phone is my water bottle. The trigger is picking up the water bottle and drinking that water. And the reward is I have achieved something before I've even got out of bed, which, you know, if you're a type 1, is helpful, helps keep that inner critic at bay. So that's a really simple habit loop. My cue, my alarm, waking up in the morning, that the routine, drinking that water immediately before I do anything else. I do not go on my phone. I do not say hello to my dog. I don't get out of bed until I've drunk that water. And then the reward, I have achieved something before I've even gotten up. That's a gold star for me. So that's the kind of thing we want to think about when we're creating those habit loops to help make that 1% happen each day. So I've got some tailored habit ideas for each Enneagram type, which you might find helpful. You might not need these. You might have your own set of goals, habits that you are trying to integrate, that you're trying to stay devoted to, and that, you know, just hearing about the habit loop, you've thought about, that's inspired different ways for you to kind of make that happen. If you would like some inspiration and support, here are some ideas. You don't have to do these. If you hear one that is different from your Enneagram type that you like the sound of, that is cool. Explore that. So these are just here if you want them, okay? Type 1. Spend 2 minutes at the end of each day on something that you did well today, yeah? Type 2. Take 5 minutes to check in with your own emotions before responding, especially helpful for texts, type 2, because obviously you have 1 million people you're texting at any given time. Type 3, acknowledge your progress daily. So that could be at the beginning or the end of the day. Similar to type 1, but you probably aren't going to journal because you're a type 3. So what would it look like to acknowledge the progress that you've made each day? Personally, not professionally, personally. Type 4, and you write down one area of one gratitude, and you write down one gratitude note each day. Type 5, can you spend 5 minutes each day sharing with someone your knowledge? What would that look like? Type 6, can you start each day with a grounding affirmation? Something like, I trust myself completely. I trust I can handle whatever comes my way. I believe in myself, something of that ilk. Type 7, and you set a timer to focus on a task for 10 minutes each day. Might feel really boundaried. Can you just try it for 10 minutes each day? Type 8, can you end your day by noticing where you softened to somebody else, where you let somebody else in? And type 9, can you choose one task from your to-do list and complete it? Now remember, it's not about, feeling like, well, all of those are really small, I'll pick 3 of them. Just start with one thing at a time, okay? The biggest conversation, the most common conversation I've been having this January is I've picked way too many things to do and now I feel really overwhelmed. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time thinking about the how, okay? In last week's episode, we talked about the why. At the beginning of this week's episode, we've talked about the what. Now I want to talk about the how. How are we going to maintain, show up for that 1%? So number 1, which I feel like I have shown throughout this episode and the previous one, I really think starting small is where we want to be. These big lofty ideals and goals aren't serving you in the day-to-day. They have to set the vision for, but then we have to bring it down into reality, okay? So we can start small. The smaller the habit, the more likely it is to stick. For example, if you wanted to start meditating, trying to meditate for 30 minutes each day, if you don't meditate at all, is not going to happen. It's not going to happen unless you're on some kind of retreat where somebody else is holding you accountable to that, leading you through that, and you don't have all the other parts of life to be taken care of. Start with 1 minute a day and build up. Anchor into those existing habits, okay? So number 2, anchor into those existing habits. Put your new habit with something that you're already doing, yeah? If you want to start saying an affirmation each morning, do it whilst you're brushing your teeth. If you want to meditate each morning, do it whilst you're having your morning coffee, yeah? We want to look smarter, not harder in 2025. Let's do that. Number 3, this is going to work for some people, it's going to work for others. I think tracking progress is really helpful. Because then when you fall off the band, because if you're then having a low day, you can look back and remember how you showed up for yourself with that 1% each day. And so that could look like journaling, that could look like a little bit of accountability with a partner or a friend perhaps. This is build momentum and help keep you motivated. If you want help with that, send me a DM. Okay, number 4, prioritize that consistency over perfection. If you are trying to bring more affirmations into your day and then you're having a really low day and you're struggling to say the affirmation, shift the affirmation rather than just not doing it, yeah? So if your affirmation is, I believe I'm capable of anything I set my mind to, and then you find yourself feeling really not capable and you've had a recent, blow to confidence or something has come up, maybe shift the affirmation to something that feels more achievable, like I show up for myself, or I can handle whatever life throws at me. Shift it, adjust, don't abandon. Adjust, don't abandon. Yeah. And then leading on, number 5 is, reflect. What's working, what isn't, and perhaps do that at the same time each week, on a Sunday evening. What's worked, what hasn't. This could kind of link into your tracking your progress. And then, make some adjustments on how to show up for yourself for the next week. I think sometimes people think that when goals or intentions shift, there's something wrong with that. There isn't. That's just like a normal part of receiving information, yeah? You're learning about yourself all the time. You're growing all the time. You're allowed to change your mind about things, to shift your goals and intentions. It's totally allowed. You can do it. And then I just want to talk about the common challenges and how we can overcome them, yeah? Because similarly to, taking on too much and feeling overwhelmed, there are 2 other challenges that I kind of see crop up time and time again. Let's talk about them now, okay? So number 1 is feeling overwhelmed. We don't need to do a million things at once. Pick one thing, go for that, yeah? But number 2 is the impatience with results bit. And I see this more with aggressive stances and type 1s. But you got to trust the process, guys. You've got to trust the process. It's not going to happen overnight. We're talking about 1% each day. You've got to trust the process. And then number 3 is falling off track. Yeah, and this comes back to adjust, don't abandon. If you fall off track, there's probably a reason for that. That reason is worth exploring. It's worth understanding. Why do you think that happened? What could we do differently? How could you better show up for yourself in that space? Progress isn't linear. That's okay. It's okay. What matters is that you're showing up for yourself and that you're trying. That's like literally all that matters. So this is quite a nifty episode to kind of get you exploring and thinking about what that 1% can look like each day, how you can step into that. And so I want to kind of leave you with this thought that small hinges swing open big doors, yeah? These small things might feel insignificant, but they're not. They hold the key to unlocking that devoted, aligned, overflowing life that I talk about so often. Even the tiniest action that you take for yourself today is a vote for your future self. So one small habit you can start building on today. Drop it in the comments. I would love to know, and it's going to help inspire each other. If you're looking for more support with your habits, with your daily routines, of course, grab my £7 Overcoming Overwhelm guidebook. It's there, it's £7, it's a no-brainer, it's so good. Don't sleep on that. If you want a little bit more support, if you want to work through and really take some time to understand the root cause and where that might be coming from and how you can show up for yourself in a better, more expansive way, take the full Overwhelm to Overflow course. That is also available now. You can find both linked in my show notes. You're allowed to have support on your journey. It's totally normal. It's totally part of it. So if you want that extra support, it's just there. Go and grab it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope it got the cogs turning and whirring. And I can't wait to hear about what ways you're showing up for yourself and staying committed to that 1% each day. It's so exciting. I will see you next week for another episode at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. If you need any support in the meantime, just send me a DM on Instagram. I'll see you then. If Guided the podcast resonated with you, why not share it on your socials or send it to your friends? And if you have a spare moment, I would love it if you could leave me a review. These small gestures are free and they're invaluable in helping me amplify the reach of Guided the podcast, connecting us with more empowered women who are eager to increase their well-being. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop with our latest episodes. By subscribing, you'll stay connected and receive a weekly dose of inspiration directly to your inbox. Thank you for being a part of our community, for showing up, and for your commitment to personal growth and self-discovery. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and keep exploring the depths of your own inner wisdom.